Hello guys, this is Mafuan speaking. Hope you're doing well right now. I've been absent for a long time, but today we are recovering our course. So today we're going to start the fifth lesson of our course, C programming language. And today I'm bringing to you data input and output. This is a very special lesson that I prepared with a very good effort for you to understand how C++ deals with the information, and we're gonna have a full control over the data. So let's roll, guys. Today we're gonna be talking about data input, output, and some advanced options. When we're talking about data input, we're talking about some commands which are used to get information from the user to the computer, from the outside to the computer. From the computer perspective, when we're talking about data input, computer is thinking about input devices such as the keyboard, the mouse, a microphone, and stuff like that. But today we're going to be more focused on the keyboard, which is the most important input device. So there are some data input functions. For example, when we're dealing with the keyboard, the input function we're going to be using is the scanf, scan formatted function. And the opposite, on the other hand, when we're talking about output devices like the monitor, we're going to be using a function called printf. So for input, we use scanf, and for output, printf. And printf is going to be printing to the monitor, to our terminal. So the scanf functions get from the keyboard some formatted lists of arguments, any kind of data, no matter what it is. So, and then the first argument of the scanf function is going to be a string, some text containing the formatted expression. Inside this formatted expression, we have to put stuff like this, the percentage, and after the percentage, we'll put the format. This is a digit, which means an integer, and this is also an integer. And after the comma, we can put the variables. So here we have two formatted integers, so we can put two integer variables right here. And the ampersand is the address, because the scanf function is going to need the address of these variables, so scanf can modify this inside the memory. Okay. And for the user perspective, the user is gonna type the first number here, and then the user can press enter or space after putting the second number. These are some other functions alternative for scanf function. This fscanf is an abbreviation of this expression. For example, if you're using fscanf, you're getting the information from a file, from a real file, instead of using the keyboard. But if you put fscanf with the first parameter being stdin, this means stdin means the keyboard. The other parameters are exactly the same as you use here on the scanf function. This is scanf. Scanf is for a string. This is like a printf, another variant. But instead of getting the value from a file, like a file in your computer, or even this stdin, which is the keyboard, you pass here a print containing a text, and this text is going to be used to populate the variables here on the scanf function. Okay, this is the getchar is a function in which you pass a file address, and from this file this file, this function is gonna read one character. This character is going to be returned to a variable. You put here variable, for example, sharp name or sharp letter, and that letter is gonna be populated with the first character, which is going to get from here. But these, if you're using a real file, and you use successively the getC function, you're gonna be reading the next character time after time, the first, the second, and so on. GetChar is a variant of getC. With getChar, this is an abbreviation for this, okay? Instead of using any file, you're using the keyboard, okay? This is explicitly using the keyboard, and this is implicitly using the keyboard. So fget, we saw before as something like getC, okay? And here, file get string. This is the name of this function. You have a string, okay? You have a string, and from a file, you're gonna read n bytes and put inside this string. I didn't teach you how to populate strings yet, but we all have a lesson dedicated on strings. Don't worry. So right here in the past, we also used gets. Gets was an unsafe function, which right now is deprecated. We shouldn't use anymore. It's replaced by fgets, because fgets allows us to control here the size of the bytes, which is going to be passed by the user to our string. Because if we don't control this, and we do this like using getS, the user might be able to populate this string with some tricky characters, and doing a buffer overflow, going ahead from the limit of our string, and that can be dangerous for our program. Okay, so never use gets. You always use getS if you want to get some values from a file, and values from a file to your string. stdin is the keyboard standard input, and this is end of file. End of file is quite useful when you're using getC, because getC returns an int. An int, because of this, when a file here, if a file reaches the end, getC will return -1, which means end of file, or EOF. That's the same. So this is the printf function, the opposite, the very opposite of the scanf. The syntax is pretty much the same. Instead of scanf, you use printf. Here you pass, this is a number, this is an integer, this is another integer. As you can see, this is the format, but the only difference is that inside the printf function, you can put some values, so some decoration, let's call it like that. This is I can put some useful information to the user, like number 1 and blah blah blah. This is the enter character, okay, to break a line. And here you put the numbers, as you can see, without the ampersand, because this function doesn't need the address of these variables, because it's only going to copy the values to print on the screen. But like the scanf function, we have some variants of printf. Okay, we can see like this. We had scanf function, as I showed before, when you pass stdin, which is the keyboard, which was exactly the same as scanf, but here printf, we don't pass the keyboard, but we pass, on the other hand, we pass the monitor. So in this case, printf is like this, is using fprintf to print the values here on the monitor. So this is sprintf. Sprintf is to print to a string. As you can see, when we saw before, scanf is to get values from a string, okay, from a string. And here, sorry, to get a value to populate a string, but here, sorry, from a string, and here it is to populate that string, okay. We saw before this is scanf. You get data from a string to populate this on the printf, on the scanf, but on the printf you get these values to populate this string. That's the opposite, and this is also the opposite of get char. Get char is to populate this, but put char is to use this character here to populate this file, to put into this file. But sometimes if you don't want to use a real file, you can pass here the monitor. This is the terminal stdout. So in this case, you put in this value. You printing this character to this file, which is the terminal, the monitor. The monitor, the screen, your screen is a file, a real file. So put char is an abbreviation of putc. That's all the same. Fput. What is fput? We saw before fgets which we use to populate the string. We populated our string. Fgets we use to populate our string with the values coming from the file. This is the opposite. Fput, you get these bytes, these characters inside our string, and we put into the file. But here, this is the puts, like, let's call puts. This is like fputs, but in this case we're using the monitor. We're not populating some random file, some real file. We're populating the monitor itself, which is a file, and the standard output. So after now in this comment, this is the most important. After that, you can know some more things. For example, we can control the arguments which are passed to our main function. The main function, that main function we've been using on our 4 previous lessons, those this main function supports 2 different parameters. The first parameter is the number of arguments. I'm going to show you in the practice, okay? And the second parameter, you can call whatever you want, okay? The number of arguments and the arguments themselves. So the arguments are going to be some strings which you pass. Let me go to the example. This is an example. This is the function, the main function, as you know, and this is an example. For example, if you compile a program inside your computer, you can name that program. Let's say the program name is my program, and then you're gonna run your program. You put the program name, okay, and then you put some random stuff here. These are some string. This is one string that I'm calling Tekniikka. This 3M is another string. This dash is another string, and 2021 is another string. So right now we have 1. This is the program. We have 2. We have 3, 4, and 5. So in this case, the main function, these number of arguments are going to be called like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is going to be 5. And this is the list. This list, okay? This list. 1. This is the first element of the list. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and so on. Okay. I'm going to show you in the practice. Okay. That's a little bit easy to understand, but I can show you. This is the last slide. So Local files manipulation. This is some homework you can do by your own. In your computer, you can control the files you have saved on your hard disk. So in order to do that, you can do something like that. You declare some variable, let's say file1. This is the type file. This is the address. Okay, this is the address, file address. And then you call a function called fopen. This is file open. And here you put the path, the real path in your computer where the file is. And then you put an R or W. If you put an R, you open in read mode. This is read only. If you put a W, this is going to be writable. You will be able to write. So how do I write inside this file? You already know the functions. Those functions I showed in the previous slides are the real function you're going to use to manipulate your files, okay? At the end, never forget to close your files. After you open your file, then you manipulate using those functions I showed before. You have to close the file, okay? That's mandatory. So that's fine. Thank you for watching this. Now I'm going to show you how to use those functions. Let's go ahead. As you can see here, I have these. I'm calling these num arguments. The name doesn't matter. You can put an argument, n args, for example, and these are the args. Okay, never mind. So you can delete this. That works, but you can use. That's fine. So let's declare some variable. Let's say char. Let's say char letter. This is a letter, and then we're gonna have some scanf. And here you can put some blah blah blah. This is a char. The program is going to scan a char from the keyboard, because scanf gets the values from the keyboard. This std in. All those words I was speaking are coming from this library. So right now you can put here the variable. Our variable is called letter, and the address of that variable, and then semicolon right here, and then you can printf. Okay, let's printf. This is printf, and then you put the format as you have here the format. This is a char, but before a char you can say my letter. This is how printf works. This is the format, and then the second parameter is the letter, our variable. But you don't need to put the address here, okay? That's fine. What can I do? I can say void here. That's fine. Void means nothing. Don't worry about this. I won't need to use return 0 right here. So let's go. That's fine. Now I can write here some stuff. 2 letters, for example. As you can see, my letter is only the first letter because I said here on the scanf that I'm going to read just one char, okay? Just one char, this, and now I'm printing. So this is the printf, pretty easy. Now let's use a different function, something like let's say fprintf, not printf or scanf, fscanf and fprintf. Fscanf, for fscanf you need a file, okay? What is the file? Let's put here, what is the file? The file is the first parameter, okay? You put here, the file is the std in, which is the keyboard. I'm getting from the keyboard, okay? This function uses an additional detail, which is the file, okay? This stands for file. And here, fprintf, you can put here the file. What's the file to show? To show, we can show on std out, which is our terminal, our monitor. So that's fine. Let's try. try it out. That's fine. My letter is B. Now it's B. And you can see that we printed B on the screen. If you put here a different file, I'm assuring you that this B is going to be written at the end of that file. So that's very amazing, guys. So let's use another function, some more. sprintf. Sprintf is to print to a string. Let's go. Sprintf this is to print into a string, but I cannot show you this because I didn't teach you how to declare a string. So we're not going to populate a string yet, but we can get something from a string. For example, from a string we can have scanf, and you can put here a string, something like me, and now it's not going to be read from a file but from a string. This is the first character because I'm getting only the first, and that's fine. As you can see, the first. But if I want, what if I want the second as well? If I want the second as well, I can do that. Another C, and I'll need to have here another one, letter 2, for example. Letter 2, and here, let's call it letter 2. Letter 2. And let's add here the letter 2. Okay, letter 2. Letter 2, and here, this is my letter 1. And I need my letter 2. Let's call my letter 2. Or just letter 1, not to be so long, okay? Letter 1, letter 2. This is going to be letter 1, and this is the format, okay? Semicolon, and then letter 2. Now we have 2 letters. So let's go. Let's put here some more. For example, don't worry, me here, for example. This is a string, but the scanf, oh, that's an error. Okay, let's see what's going on. That's fine. That's fine to have an error because you're going to learn how to fix this. So this is, where is the error? Letter 2. Okay, letter 2. Because I don't have here the address, scanf function needs the address of the variables, okay? So let's go. Now you have letter 1 is M. Letter 2 is nothing. Oh, what's going on? Okay, that's bad, man. Let's see what's going on. This is scanf. I have a comma here. Let's take it out. See what? Okay, now that's fine, as you can see. Okay, now let's move. Let's roll to another function. Let's talk about put. Put and get. Let's put right now some get. Get is the input and put is the output. So for the input, we want to get a shard from a file. A shard from a file, okay? Let's say something like, I want 2 shards. Let's say 2 shards. This is a shard and this is another shard. But I need the shard from a file. This is shard from, no, I'm all allowed to have a single shard, okay, a single shard. So let's use letter 1. Fortunately, this is for a single shard, okay. This is a shard and a file. What is our file today? Our file today is std_in because we don't have another file. From std_in, we populate this shard, and then we can remove this and using only this one. So that's fine. Let's try now. If that's bad, we have some problems here. This is get C, not simply get, okay? Let's go ahead. Okay, I have an error. This is letter on get C. Wait, let me see what's going on. Get C, I'm showing you the put C, but the get C is here, okay? Get C file, only from a file. I was wrong, guys. I was wrong. You can only put here the file and the letter comes here, letter 1. Because if we put here inside, it would need the address. But this function doesn't work with the address. This is like this. Like this, you put the variable and then you get from here. Okay, that's fine. Let me go ahead. And then I think we can roll. This is a put. This is, what is put? I'm seeing here put. That's bad, man. This is put char. But for put char, we need the char, which is letter 1 or letter, and then we need the file to put to. That's a file. So like that. Okay, that's bad. I have letter with uppercase. That's bad. Okay, now that's fine. We're getting this letter from std, and then we put it back to std out. Okay, the letter is going to be A, and then A. Okay, if you put something like AB, no, CB, for example, you get C. Okay, because we're saying get C, not get C's. Yeah, let's go ahead, and then you have some get char. Get char doesn't need to. If you say get char, something like that, get char. For get char, you don't need to specify the file, because get char always will use std in by default. Okay, and then put char, for example, put char is always using std out. You don't need std out anymore. So you go ahead. So that's fine. I have AB, for example, and I have A. Okay, that's fine. Get char, fgets. You have in the past we used gets, but I already explained that this is bad because of buffer overflow. Leave it in the comments what you know about buffer overflow and if you have other options to these functions. But now we're going to use this fget gets file get string. So it's going to read n bytes from this file to populate this string. But I told you that I didn't explain you how to create a string yet. So we're not going to use this, but we can use fputs. What is fputs? This is gets to populate a string, and fputs to get from the string to the file, the opposite. Let's say fputs, let's comment this. Let me comment this out. I can comment this out in order to use f file put string. If I put string, I can say, so my name math. Let's say math1, the biggest one. And then you put here a file. My file is std out. Let's try. Yeah, and then you put this. If this was a real file, my name will be saved at the end of this file. And it was, but this file is the screen that you're seeing right now. Okay, that's fine for fputs, fgets. What else? We have to talk a little bit about the main function arguments. This is very easy. Let's move. Let's delete this. These arguments, for example, I can say printf, and I put here, this is the D, which is the digit. And then you have args, and args, okay, and args. And args, what do you think is going to be? For me is 1. But that's bad, man. What's going on? Okay. What's going on? What did I do wrong? I don't know. This is saying undeclared first use this function args. Okay, this is n args. I'm wrong, guys. You ain't telling me anything. Okay, that's fine. Let's move. Okay, n args represents the number of arguments passed to this main function. As this main function was launched by this compiler, which didn't pass any arguments, so else is 1. But why 1, not 0? 1 because the program itself is one of the arguments. I said the program name is 1. As you can see, if you want to see the program name, let's put here some, let's say, /n, okay, /n, and on the other line, or even here, we can put the other, a string, for example. We need a string, okay, a string, and the string is gonna be this args, the args themselves, but we need the first one. This is a string being used, but we're gonna have a session only for strings, so don't worry about this syntax, okay? Now, this is the name of the program, okay? This is the name of arguments passed to this program, and this is the name of the program itself, okay? That's fine. But talking about files, this is your homework. You can try to do something like this on your real computer, okay? Something like this, like opening a file. I cannot do that because I'm not using my real computer. This is a computer in the cloud, so I cannot have access to manipulate those files. Those files are not mine. I don't even know the paths and so on. So you can have syntax like this. Open this. Let me try something here. Since this file doesn't exist, so in this case, if the file doesn't exist, we're gonna have some null. This is null. I can do some cout on file 1 must be 0, something like 0. Oh, that's bad. Sorry. This is not C. This is C++. So I'm so sorry. So printf. Okay, don't worry. We have this is an int. Okay, some like I, and we have the file, and then okay, that's bad. We're looking for that should be a pointer or some stuff like that. Okay, this is a pointer. Okay, for a pointer we have this. As you can see, we have this. This is nil, which means this is not a file. This is not a real file. This is why I was using kind of stdout or stuff like that, std in and stdout files. Yeah, this file has an address. This is the address of the keyboard being used on this computer in the cloud. Guys, thank you very much. Subscribe my channel called Tekniikka High Tech. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, I'm off one. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.